The following are 6 of the creepiest short stories found on Reddit. You're watching Scary 6. Number 6. A young boy is sleeping in his bed on a usual night. He hears footsteps outside of his door and peeks out of his eyes to see what is happening. His door swings open quietly to reveal a murderer carrying the corpses of his parents. After silently propping them onto a chair, he writes something on the wall with the blood of the dead bodies. He then hides under the child's bed. The child is scared beyond belief. He can't read the writing on the wall, and he knows the man is under his bed. Like any normal child, he pretends that he slept through the whole thing and hasn't awoken yet. He lays there as still as his parents' bodies, quietly hearing the breaths from under his bed. An hour passes, and his eyes are adjusting more and more to the darkness. He tries to make out the words, but it's a struggle. He gasps when he finally makes out the sentence. "I know you're awake," it said on the wall. And he feels something shift underneath his bed. Number 5. Mommy told me never to go in the basement, but I wanted to see what was making that noise. It sounded kind of like a puppy, and I wanted to see the puppy, so I opened the basement door and tiptoed down a bit. I didn't see a puppy, and then my mommy yanked me out of the basement and yelled at me. Mommy had never yelled at me before, and it made me sad and I cried. Then Mommy told me never to go into the basement again, and she gave me a cookie, which made me feel lots better. So I didn't ask her why the boy in the basement was making noises like a puppy, or why he had no hands or feet. Number 4. A young boy is sitting in school not really paying attention. Absent-mindedly, he looks out the window and notices a picture laying on the ground outside of school. After school ends, he goes and picks up the picture and realizes it is a picture of a young girl. In the picture, she is holding up the 2-fingered peace sign, and she is the most beautiful girl he has ever seen. He spends the entire evening asking around town if anybody knows her or where he can find her. No one knows, and he returns home disappointed. That night, he is suddenly awoken in bed and sees the girl from the picture standing on the other side of the street. He quickly rushes to see the girl, but is struck by a car while crossing the street and is killed instantly. The police investigators find a picture lying next to his body of a young girl holding up 3 fingers. Number 3. A man goes into an old hotel. He gets his key from the reception and heads off to his room. As he walks down the hall to his room, he hears crying coming from behind one of the doors in the corridor. He stops at the door the crying is coming from and looks through the keyhole. A woman in black, with wrinkled hands covered in liver spots and her face covered by a veil, is sitting on a stool in the corner of the room sobbing. The man asks if she needs help. She doesn't answer. He asks again, and the reply continues to be nothing but crying. The man decides that he's too tired to help, and continues to his room. The next morning, as he's walking down the same hall to go to the reception, he remembers the old woman. He goes to the door and hears silence. He peeks through the keyhole again, and sees nothing but red. The man gives up and goes to the reception to check out. As he is leaving, he mentions the crying woman in the room to the receptionist. The receptionist turns pale and says that the room is said to be haunted by an old woman. The man laughs it off and heads to the door. He is stopped in his tracks when the receptionist says that the ghost is an old woman with red eyes. Number 2. A female survivalist and trained outdoors guide who loves to go solo camping returns home after 2 weeks of being in the bush and not seeing a single soul. She develops her disposable camera film to find a roll of film with numerous pictures of her sleeping at night on different nights. She has never gone camping or hiking since. Number 1. A woman lived alone with her dog, a large Doberman. One day she came home and her dog was choking on something. She attempted to dislodge the object in his throat, but she could not. She rushed the dog to the vet, who said he would work on the dog and call her later. 2 hours later, the woman gets a call from the vet. "Get out of the house. The police are on their way. They will explain," he says in a hurried voice. Afraid, she runs out of the house, and when the police arrive, they charge into the house and run upstairs. She asks one of the men what is happening. He responds, "The vet found what your dog was choking on. It was 3 human fingers." A few minutes later, the police escort a man out of her house. He was clutching his right hand because he was missing 3 fingers. And that's the end of this video. Make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you want to see videos just like this one.